Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Just Like You show. I am your host, Alexis Christine, and I am a spiritual mindset coach and Reiki master, helping women break through their limiting beliefs, rewire their brain, and manifest the life of their dreams. Just Like You is a podcast for all of the divine souls looking for guidance on their healing and ascension journey. We explore the depths of the universe, hold space for vulnerable conversations about spirituality and self-development, delve into the esoteric things like how to manifest, star seeds, the astral realm, and shed light on taboo topics such as plant medicine and so much more. I am honored that you are here to take this journey with me. I want everyone listening to be able to leave each episode feeling inspired and having learned something tangible to take away into their day-to-day life. If you feel called to work with me or explore this work deeper, please reach out at imalexischristine.com or you can DM me on Instagram at iam.alexischristine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Just Like You show. I am your host, Alexis Christine. Today we have a very informative episode all about astrology. So before we get started, I want everyone to go to astro.com and pull up your birth chart. So what you'll need for this is obviously your birthday, the location of birth, and if you have it, the exact time that you were born. If you don't have this, your houses and the planets within them will be skewed, but you'll still get a general understanding of your sun and your moon signs, as well as all of the generational planets that affect us as a whole. It is so much more than just your sun sign. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about how to manifest using the moon and how you can use your chart specifically during the manifestation period with the new moon and the full moon to call in specific things based on where the moon sits in your houses. We talk about what your big three are and how they represent you as a person, what each house represents, the energy all of the planets hold, and the importance of your north and south nodes, as well as other things like your Saturn return, which may be something that you've never heard of. So I know this is going to be such an amazing informational episode for you all. One thing that I need to say is I am so sorry for the sound quality of this episode. My Airbnb in Playa was the most echoey thing ever, and I have not sorted my sound when there's more than one person yet. I'm just going to get a second mic because even editing this back, I was like, ooh, so I'm really sorry. Hopefully you guys can bear through it. Maybe it's not as bad as I think it is and I'm being over dramatic, who knows. But that was just one thing that I needed to say, just in case. But with that, I'm going to let you guys go and enjoy the episode. See you on the other side. I am here today with a super exciting guest. We actually met in a healing circle here in Playa del Carmen, and she has just been the coolest person ever to meet. Her name is Anne-Belle. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell everyone kind of where you're from?
Yes, that's cool. So my name is Anne-Belle. I am 21 years old and I'm from the Netherlands. And I am an astrologer and personal branding coach. And I combine the two as well.
And today's episode is going to be all about astrology, but not the same astrology horoscope that you see in the back of a magazine or what you've basically grown up as knowing. We are going deep into the chart and really explaining what everything means and how it works and how it affects your daily life, because the sun sign that you read in the back of a magazine is literally just like the tiniest micro piece of an entire puzzle. So to start off, I will remind you guys what I am. I'm a Pisces sun, a Scorpio moon, and a Leo rising. What are you?
I'm a Libra sun, Aries moon, and Libra rising.
Ah, two Libras.
Yes.
Amazing. That's so cool. And how long have you been in Mexico for?
A month now. Today, actually.
Today's your 1 month anniversary.
Yes.
Holy
anniversary.
Shit. It is. It's like you picked up. You started a whole new life. Like it's your 1 month anniversary.
Yes. Now I'm a nomad for a month.
Yes.
In the beginning, I started telling people I'm a digital nomad now, but I was like, yeah, for a few days. But now I've been a digital nomad for a month.
You're in it.
Yes,
you are in it. So Anne-Belle does astrology readings and astrology-based coaching, which I think is like so cool. And we just did my chart reading before this, and I just feel so seen and like understood, and so many things about my life are just making so much sense that I never even would have pieced together. And I had a suspicion but I am actually in my Saturn return, which makes so much sense for everything happening in my life right now. So I'm so excited to have you here. I feel like it's going to be such an educational session.
Thank you. Even that you said you feel seen and understood, that's like the number one line I use for my business.
Really?
Is wanting to make people feel seen and understood.
Oh
So
my God,
that's
that
like
is
the biggest compliment.
such alignment. Holy crap. Synchronicity.
Yes.
Oh, that is so cool. Okay, so to start off, how did you get into astrology? Like, how did that happen for you?
It's crazy because I don't really remember how I got into it. It just, I don't know, it kind of happened. And I even got I got a Libra tattoo, so my zodiac sign when I was 16. So that's
Oh, wow.
4 years or like 3 years before, is it 3? Yeah, 3 years before I got into astrology. But like in the beginning of the first lockdown, that was when like everything was silent. I was at home for my studies. I did marketing studies, university. And I was at home and I was like, okay, I have so much time now. I can finally get into spirituality because that has always been something I was interested in. And with like learning about astrology and crystals and I think one of the first courses I did was the moon and the cycles of the moon.
Love it.
And then manifesting with the new moon and full moon as well. And I think that's where it kind of started to really learn about the zodiac signs. And then I had a breakup like a few months later. And directly after the breakup, I decided to do studies on astrology. And I had this like major intuitive download of starting a business that would combine my marketing and personal branding and astrology. But I got that download like before I even got into astrology. So it was like I was kind of destined to already start doing it.
That is so cool.
Yes.
I love that a breakup triggered it because I feel like breakups or heartbreak trigger all of the major growth and transformation in my life. So I'm happy that I'm not alone with that. That's so funny.
I was the big cliche, like the girl who got her hairs and moved to a different city and then even a different country and then started a whole new life.
Just going further and further.
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny. So if you started with like the moon and manifesting, I have experience manifesting on the full and the new moons. But do you want to talk about maybe like how that works or like what that even is for those who don't know?
Yeah, so the moon cycles, like on a new moon, it's a great period for like starting projects and setting intentions for what you want your like this moon cycle, so the next like 28 or 29 days, what you want those days to look like. So I do use the new moon for setting intentions, and then for me personally, I also look at my birth chart and where in what house, so in what life area the new moon falls. So the next new moon in 2 days is going to be in my 6th house of like daily routine and responsibilities and habits. So I know I'm going to be starting new habits on this new moon, and then starting them on that day would make them more successful because it aligns with the energy of the moon. And then when you do like a manifesting ritual or like a moon ritual on a full moon, you can focus more on letting go of certain things in your life, because letting go of things makes more room for your manifestations to come in. So I think that's like one of the biggest parts of manifestations that people forget to include in their manifestation practice, because you can like try to manifest things into your life, but if you're still holding on to things that aren't serving you, that's not gonna call in the blessings you want. So when I focus on the full moon, I also focus on letting go of the things that don't serve me anymore.
And what does a ritual look like for you? Because for me, it's like sometimes I just do a random guided meditation, or sometimes I'll like have a candle and incense and like do some journaling and literally burn the shit that I've written down that I want to release like in the candle fire. Like, is that like a normal thing, or is that just, am I just curating off of what I've seen on Instagram? And
no,
I've
definitely
different?
done those rituals too, like just writing down everything and then burning it. But I started, that's also a big part of the start of my astrology journey, is one of many astrologers I follow is Josie Boog. She's Dutch, and she has this whole guide. It's unfortunately is Dutch, so not everyone can use it, but that's how I started manifesting. She just makes a guide every month on every new and full moon.
Okay.
And she writes a ritual. So I just started following those rituals, and I started manifesting things. And there was this new moon, I think it was in my fourth house of home, so that will be a Capricorn new moon. And on that new moon, I was manifesting things and like setting intentions for manifesting a new home. And instead of manifesting a new home, I also wrote down that I wanted this big green velvet couch. And then 2 days later, I came into a thrift shop and there was a big green velvet couch.
Oh my God.
And I immediately bought it.
I've never had anything manifest that quickly. That is insane.
No,
2
but
days
that
later.
yeah, so that was the day that for me I started realizing like, wow, this is so real, and like manifesting on the moon is so powerful, and I can't go without it anymore actually.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. You mentioned that for you, like the new moon was in your, I would say, sixth house, and that
The
was
next
for
one.
you, Capricorn.
So back then, that new moon on the with the velvet couch, that was my fourth house, and the fourth house is your home and family. But like manifesting a new home on a new moon in your fourth house of home, for me was so aligned. And then so I started writing about it, and then, but I also like wanted to write down what it would feel like. So if I came home, on what kind of couch would I be sitting? And I was like visualizing this couch, and I got that big ass beautiful couch in 2 days.
So for people who want to like match what they're manifesting to where their moon is, how do they know where the moon is in their chart? Like how does that work?
I would recommend using astro.com.
Okay.
A lot of people use like apps like CoStar or maybe they look at cafe astrology. The right website is astro.com, and then you can make a profile or just be a guest user. You do need your exact birth time to check the houses. So if you don't have the exact birth time, like maybe you can ask for your birth certificate or something in the city where you were born. But if you do have that time and you fill it in, you have your chart, you have to click with transits. It's a blue button. And then on the outside of the circle, so the outside of the chart, you can see the green planets, and those are the transits. And there you can see where the moon is going to be. I usually, when I don't have any time or like I don't want to be looking at that chart, I just Google on what degree the moon or the new moon is going to be, and then you can see it. It's like very complicated to explain in this way, but when you look at your chart, you can count the degrees. It's like 30 degrees, and you can see where it's going to be. So then you can read it off, but like you do need a little explanation when you've never done it before.
So another thing that you mentioned was the houses. So for those who don't know, we have 12 houses in astrology, which impacts so much of our lives, which is why I said it's not just your sun sign on the back of a magazine that you should be reading.
Yeah.
Do you want to, go through what the moon and the rising sign are for people so that they have like the full picture of your big three? And then maybe let's go through the houses so people know what you're talking about when you say it's in your fourth house.
Yeah, of course. So what the most people know, their sun sign or star sign, which is when you, for example, are born on March 12th, then you're a Pisces, and then your sun is in Pisces. But that's your sense of identity or your ego, or also your kind of your purpose in life as well, the goals you want to work towards in your life. But then your moon is your emotional security, the way you feel emotionally nurtured and safe. And you have that in Scorpio, and I have that in Aries. So every single planet can be in a different sign and makes everyone so like complicated and so unique in their own ways. So when the moon is the emotional part of ourselves, then you have the rising sign or your ascendant. That's the same thing, or like almost the same thing, and that talks about your perception in life, the lens you view through, you see your life through, and also the themes you keep coming across in your life. So for you, that's Leo. For me, that's Libra. And you being a Libra, you being a Leo rising.
They're too similar, the words.
Yeah. Leo risings, they can be like very much wanting to be in the spotlight and like wanting to be seen, feeling the need to be seen. which was for you a little more nuanced. But for me as a Libra rising, that's like a very balanced sign that deals with beauty, because Venus is the ruler and that's like the sign of beauty. So I love to dress up beautifully and like wear beautiful clothes, but that's also a theme for me, like people thinking I'm superficial because of my looks. So that's a theme that comes up for me as a Libra rising. And for you, that would be like one of the themes would also be like feeling seen, feeling the need, to be seen and to be like, even though you don't want to be the center of attention or don't want to be in the spotlight, you would still feel the need to be seen.
Which is so interesting because when we started, I literally said the reading made me feel seen. How fucking crazy!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that's what like. Oh, and people also like one of the things they also say about the ascendant is like the mask you wear in public or your first impression. Most astrologers, like not all astrologers agree on that part of like being the mask.
Okay.
But I do agree on like that it's your first impression, because when I see, for example, a Capricorn rising and they have all these other planets in totally different signs, I would still on their first impression see that they were a Capricorn, because Capricorn is much more reserved. So even if they have very extroverted other planets, the Capricorn would be very reserved in their like first impression or like when they walk into a room for the first time. So that's what I see as the ascendant or rising sign.
That is so cool. Okay, and so then what are the houses? So we have 12 of them, and they all rule a different area of our life.
Yeah, so the ascendant is based on your birth time, so that's the most specific part of your chart, and that's where our house system starts. So me as a Libra rising, my first house is in Libra, and your Leo rising, your first house is in Leo, and that's like that's why your birth time is so important, because if your birth time isn't right and you would, for example, with the wrong birth time be a Cancer rising, your reading I just gave you would be completely different. So that's why it's so important. And also on like manifesting with the moon in the houses. But the first house is your appearance, the way you look. It's your identity, your personality, like the very much you part of who you are. Then the second house is about your worth, but also what you value, and in that way value as in money and your own resources. And then move on to the third house is communication, but also your surroundings. So that's something we didn't talk about that much in the reading, but also a part of the third house is like your surroundings, your siblings, the way you communicate, and your thoughts.
Can we give an example of like what a planet in that house would be like? So my chart's still up if we want to just look. What is in my third house and how would that represent for me as community? Just so people can kind of get an idea of like what it means.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so you have Jupiter in the third house. And why?
I don't know, I feel like Jupiter is always just not blessing me.
No, but Jupiter is the planet of blessings and like luck, and no, Jupiter is a lucky planet. It's the planet of blessings, of luck, of growth, development, expansion. But of course that also means when it touches something that's less nice in your chart, that would like put a magnifying glass on the thing that's
why I feel
good.
like it's not blessing me, because it's magnifying all the harder aspects of my chart. So how would that show up in the third house then?
Third house is communication. So you with Jupiter in the third house, we were talking about how important honesty is for you. So Jupiter and honesty are like very much aligned. People with a lot of Jupiter or Sagittarius influence are like very honest, probably blunt also.
Yeah, me.
Yep. So that's what you were talking about. When you say something, it can kind of come across of like maybe someone doesn't really like what you just said, but you can be very blunt because of that Jupiter in the third house. And then the fourth house, it's about your roots. It's where you come from, but that can also be like the house you grew up in, your parents, your mom, your dad, or if you didn't grow up with your mom or dad, that would also be, you could also see that in a chart probably. And fourth house is probably one of my favorite houses, because of course, like that's where you come from, and that's what shapes us. And
Interesting.
for me, probably that's just one of the most important houses, because when you don't like look at the fourth house, I feel like you completely miss what shaped you and what made you the person you are right now. So yeah, the fourth house is childhood and stuff and family. Then the fifth house is the house of creative self-expression, but also fun and romance and playfulness. But it can also be sex, but more in a playful way than the eighth house. That would be like more intimacy. Then next one, sixth, is the daily habits and routines and like your responsibilities, daily work, but it can also be your employees or your colleagues. That's also sixth house. Then the seventh house, which is the opposite of the first, would be the other person and the relationship. So where the first is you and you as an individual, then the opposite house of the seventh is relationships and the focus on the other person. And in traditional astrology is also marriage, so longer commitment. The eighth house is death, rebirth, transformation, intimacy, and other people's resources. Then the ninth house is higher education, travel, different cultures and languages, so very adventurous. Then the 10th house is your career, but also your status and the way. I need to think of how I explain this in English. Yeah, it can be your career or like your profession. Yeah, that's the word, profession. Then 11th house is your dreams and desires, but also your friendships and community and like the collective as well. And then the last house, the 12th, is your subconscious. It can be isolation. So in traditional astrology, they also say it can be like mental hospitals, so or like prisons. So that's isolation in that way. It's also spirituality, like in that way, subconscious of like meditation and visiting your subconscious in that way. So those are all the houses.
That is. I feel like I'm never gonna ever remember what they all mean. Like
that's okay.
So
it takes time.
And so the different planets being in the different houses obviously affect how you are as a person. So what do all the planets mean, and like what are their energies?
Yeah, so the sun is your sense of identity or your ego, your self-awareness, the way you shine. Your moon is the emotions. Then your rising sign is like your perception or what they just said, like the mask you wear in public. And then the next one is Mercury. Mercury is communication, the way you are of service to others, and your thoughts, like your mind. Venus is the way you relate to others, your relationships, but also what you value in life. And Mars is action, passion, your drive, your energy. Yes, and then we have like a couple of other planets, but those are not personal. So the planets I just named are the ones that are the most personal and really say something about your your personality. Then you have Jupiter and Saturn, which are more like transpersonal, so they take a little longer to move through the signs. And then all the other planets are like more generational. So for example, which is funny, is Pluto in Scorpio, that's the millennials.
Okay.
And Pluto in Sagittarius is Gen Z, which is funny because Sagittarius is the sign of travel and exploration, and Gen Z is also the generation that started like traveling around for their work.
Love that.
Yeah, so I love that about the generational planets as well.
That is so cool that just like a whole generation of people are all on the same vibe of just traveling and working. The fact that it's just the same in all their charts. You literally see it, them as a generation. Like I mean, obviously COVID prompted it too, but they were the ones that really changed the way that we work and just created a whole new style and method of how we work and live lives. And like the fact that you can see that in their chart is just unreal.
Yeah, I love at the beginning when I started studying astrology, the generational planets didn't really make sense to me because like how do you even read that in someone's chart? but it's like generationally, you can really see the differences, and I love that.
That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like there's so much that when I learn it all, I'm just like, my mind is just blown sometimes.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's so cool though. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we've got these planets and these houses, and then if they have a house without a planet in it, how do they figure that out? Because that's one thing that always freaking stumped me. Like, all these TikToks I see, they're like, oh, if you want to learn more about this, like, look at what planet is in this house. And I'd look and I'd be like, I don't have a planet in that house. Like, what does that mean for me?
Yeah, so many people always ask me, like, wait, there's, like, so many houses that are empty. Does that mean that, like, my love life is going to be empty for the rest of my life? But that's not the case. When you have, like, for example, your seventh house, which is the house of relationships, when that would be empty, that would mean that you have to look at the ruler of that house. So when... Let's look at mine. My seventh house is in Aries, and the ruling planet of the sign is Mars. So then I look at where Mars is placed in my chart and what aspects it makes. So that's which relations it has to the other planets. So that's like angles, but that's very like in depth.
I feel like that's way too complicated to talk about. Like they would have to see what you mean by angle.
Yeah,
because
but like
even looking at my chart, I'm like, you're like aspect here, and I'm like, yeah, I don't see it, but I'm gonna just trust you.
Yeah, no, but like you can, for example, when you have Venus as your ruler of the seventh house of relationships, and it would be in your 10th house of career. That could mean that maybe you meet your life partner through career or
okay, wait.
In that way.
So say this again. Your seventh house is empty,
but
it's the horoscope it's in is ruled by Venus.
Yeah. So if my seventh house would be in Taurus, then the ruler of Taurus, that's Venus. And my Venus would be in the 10th house,
which is career.
So
you look at where the ruling planet is in your chart. Okay.
So that would say something about that 7th house.
Okay.
Like even when it's empty, you can still read what it means.
Okay, cool. That I feel like it makes sense, but I need.
You really have to see the chart. Yeah. Yeah, and it's important to check it like on. Like just Google how to read a chart and you can find so many things about like it's pretty easy when you just read, okay, this is Mercury and that's where I can see Mercury. You can start it that way. That's totally okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I started somewhere too.
We all got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's one term that I have just seen thrown around so much, and I know we talked about it today. For me, but just for anyone else who's kind of come across this, like, what is a Saturn return and how does it impact your life? Because, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I'm in it and it now makes sense.
Every single planet has like their own cycle. So, for example, your sun, on your birthday, the sun comes back to the place where it was when you were born, and that's a solar return. The lunar return is every month because it makes like a full circle in a month or like 28 or 29 days. But Saturn takes 28 to 29 years to make a full cycle. So around your 28th or 29th birthday, Saturn comes back to the place where it was when you were born. And like the Saturn cycle is wrapping up in that period. But Saturn is the planet of how do I explain this in English? It's the ruler of Capricorn, so it's discipline, it's hard work, it's structure and routine and methodical actions or thoughts. I'm like struggling to explain this in English.
That's okay. It all is making sense, so don't worry.
Great, okay. But Saturn is also the planet of like learning things the hard way, and it's seen as the strict father of the zodiac. So they learn you things, but in a hard way. You need to go through things in order to learn about it. So when Saturn makes a cycle, and for you it's in your 7th house of relationships.
Wonderful for me.
So that return is in your 7th house, and for you a lot of these like relationship lessons have come up, and you need to work through those
heavily this year. It's been
you need to work through those things. And I have a friend who had a baby in her Saturn return.
Oh my gosh.
And for her, it was in the sixth house of daily routines and responsibilities. And she has always kind of like, she has ADHD, and she has always struggled with like having this sense of time. And Saturn is also the planet of time. It's, that's way too in-depth to explain, but like it's the planet of time. So her return, her Saturn return in the sixth house of responsibilities, for her having a baby in that period was really a lesson to learn, like to work with the time, because she really needs the time when the baby goes to bed, or when they need their food or their drink, but she's like so scattered with her with her time in that way. So that was one of the bigger lessons for her, and for everyone it's so different, but that also depends on in what sign it is, and more like what house it is and what aspects it makes.
So basically you just need to expect a lot of lessons and challenges to grow from, but where you'll expect it depends on where Saturn is in your chart.
Yes, okay. And what I think is that with your Saturn return, lessons aren't always nice.
No.
So no. Not. So a lot of people talk very negatively about your Saturn return. It can be a very rough time, especially when you're resisting the change that happens.
The theme of my life is just to let go and flow and stop resisting and trying to gain control of things.
So when you're in that period and you come across lessons, it's like, okay, how can I learn from this? How can I work through this? Instead of like, okay, no, I'm not agreeing on what's happening right now. Like, then I think you're gonna have more of a rough Saturn return when you do that.
And so, just out of curiosity, because you said it's every 28 to 29 years, when we're like 60, are we doing this shit again?
Yep.
Oh my god. And so, how, like, is it gonna be, maybe you don't know because you're obviously not 60, but is the level of intensity the same as the first one, or does it depend on how well you've like grown and learned the lessons the first time around? Because I'm assuming the lessons will be in the same areas, because it's not like Saturn's moving in your birth chart.
Yeah, honestly, the things I have read about the Saturn return are mostly about like the first one, around 28 or 29, especially because my clients are that age.
Fair.
I don't have any clients like around the second Saturn return age. So no, I haven't read enough into that, I think, to explain that.
Alright, that's fine. I was just general curiosity. I was like, we gotta do this shit at least twice. If we're lucky, if we're blessed to live that long, 3 times. So, oh, jeez.
You're tired already.
You know what? It's such an amazing journey, though. Like, I have a feeling of when my Saturn return started, like we were talking about. You're gonna look and confirm it for me. But like the amount of just growth and transformation and like heartache and hardships that I've dealt with, but how I've like transformed and grown from it, because I am in that very spiritual growth healing mindset anyways. It's just like, it's been the hardest thing ever, but it's just been so healing and so good, and I really do feel just like a whole new person, and like I'm still in it, like we're still going, so I know there's more, but
no, but that's beautiful to see though, that I feel like when you get out of your Saturn return, like one of my other friends, she's like literally going through a divorce like during her Saturn return. So things come up and it's hard for most people, but it's, I think, also very transformative in a way.
Definitely transformative. Like at least for me firsthand, it's been so transformative. Okay, and the last question that I wanted to ask regarding like the birth charts is, you mentioned when you were doing my reading that there was something you wanted to look at, but that not all astrologers use.
Oh yeah, it's asteroids.
Asteroids. Okay, so what are they? What impact do they have? And why are they like not, like, why do people not use them if they do make an impact? Like, what's the kind of iffiness on it?
So not all asteroids are being used because like when you look back at like all the way back to traditional astrology, how it all started, it just started with the planets from the sun until Saturn. So even like Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto weren't included because we can't see those planets with the naked eye. And like through time, there's extra things that kind of came up, and more astrologers started looking into it and using it. And asteroids, I need to check what that is in English. Okay, so I did have to look up what, like, in English, how to explain the asteroids. But apparently, like, in English, they say it's a small rocky object. So it's like kind of small planets or small stars. And they were discovered very late during astrology. So that's like 1970s. That's when they discovered the asteroids. So one of the first ones they discovered was Ceres. Then you have Juno, Vesta, Pallas, Athena, and Chiron and Lilith.
Are they all Greek names? Is this
They're
like a
like
theme I'm sensing?
they're like Greek,
Love Greek mythology.
feminine deities, I think, or like goddesses.
Ooh, I'm so into that.
I love
Divine
it too.
feminine. Let's embrace
Yes,
it.
that's why I love asteroids too. But then there's one, Chiron was also like discovered around like 1970s. I think that's like the most used asteroid right now, which I understand because it's about our deepest wounds and traumas or pain. And I think, again, just like the fourth house, it's what shapes us. So I think looking at Chiron is one of the most important things. I just never skip that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can just tell you so much about what you've been through, why you've been through it, and how you can work through that. So,
Okay, so stemming off of that, because you just reminded me, the north and the south nodes. You said about Chiron telling you like what you've been through and everything. And when you were doing my reading, you mentioned that the south node has to do with like things you've experienced in the past. And, like,
yeah, or
karmic
past
stuff.
life as well. Yeah.
Can you talk about the north and south node as well? Because those are also things that you'll find in your chart.
Yeah, so the north and south node, they aren't planets. They're like points of, again, how to explain in English. It's like lunar nodes that, how the orbit of the sun and the moon cross each other. That's where the nodes are. So you have the north and the south node. They're always opposite each other. And the south node is our past, is karma, it can be past lives if you believe in that. And also the things that come naturally to us, or like our instincts. And then the north, and the south node is also our comfort zone. So when we start developing and growing out of our comfort zone, that's when we start working towards our north node. So for me personally, my south node is in my fourth house, and I've had a lot of karma in my fourth house of like family and childhood and my roots. And then the north node, my north node is in the 10th house of career, which means like I'm right now like growing out of that family situation, and like for me personally, abusive childhood. And then I'm growing out of that, but I'm growing towards my career and like really building a good stable career for myself. So the north and south nodes really talk about growing out of your comfort zone, I think.
So is what's in your south node versus your north node, are they always like opposite, or does it just depend on, like, I know on the chart they're opposite, but the things that you went through in your, like, in the south node, is that dependent on what house, or will the themes in the north node always be opposite to what the themes in the south node are?
Yeah, the themes are always opposite, but of course, like, your north node can maybe aspect a certain planet, and then your south node aspects that planet differently. So of course it says like different things, but that's very like more in depth when you read it that way. But when you Google like just maybe you have yours in fifth, so that's like creative self-expression and like creativity, what we talked about, but like very that's one of the themes of the fifth house. So you can just Google what house it is or in what sign it is, and it can tell you a lot already.
Amazing. Okay. I thank you so much for being here today. I feel
Thank you.
We like just scratched the surface, and already I feel like this is going to be information overload. So it's like, it's amazing. I feel like hopefully you guys will learn so much from it. I want to ask you my closing question. What would this chapter of your life be called?
Yes, that's still such a beautiful question. This chapter of my life. It's so cliche, but I feel it's like finding myself.
I love that though. I like that's why I'm in Mexico, was like to reconnect with myself. So I totally identify with that. I love that answer.
Yeah, but it's also like, except for finding myself, it would. I know what it's called. I even got an intuitive download about this, that this chapter of my life was called Breaking Free.
Oh my god, that is so powerful.
Like, even when someone, like my friend who I'm living with here in Mexico, she asked me to come with her to Mexico, and as soon as she asked me that question, the thing I thought of was like, okay, wow, I'm just like breaking free from the matrix, breaking free from everything, and like giving myself this freedom. And then this song from High School Musical.
That's literally what jumped into my head. I was like,
I'm breaking free.
But I don't want to ruin her.
Yeah. No, but that song came into my mind, and like breaking free. Yeah, that's it. Like breaking free from where I grew up in, and like as I said, my abusive childhood and the things I've been through, which is a lot. Yeah, those themes have been really coming up here in Mexico for me. So it's breaking free, and it's also learning to not identify myself with that part of me anymore. That's what I'm like unlearning.
That is so beautiful, and I'm so excited for you on this journey.
Thank you. It's hard though, but it's beautiful.
So, okay, where can people find you? Because you do readings, you do the astrology business coaching. Where can they find you? Plug yourself.
Yes, my Instagram is Anne.Belle and then _. So that easy. I don't have my website yet, but on my Instagram I do have my Calendly.
Yeah, Calendly.
Yes, and then you can just book your reading. I have it in Dutch and in English, so I do them both.
I will link her information below in the show notes as well. Guys, I highly recommend doing the reading. It was insane. Like I've always kind of wanted one, but I never really found anyone like online that I was like, yeah, I trust you to do this. But I'm so happy we did this, because I feel like it was so amazing. And I learned, I learned so much about myself, but in a way where things just made sense. And I feel like it was just, I'm happy. The puzzle pieces all came together. It was great.
Yeah, so can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
What's the biggest thing you think you're taking from this reading?
Oh my gosh.
Like the biggest thing that would be your main thing of like when you look back at my reading.
To be honest, I think it was everything that surrounded, I mean, for the listeners, you guys probably this isn't gonna make sense for you guys, but that's fine. Everything that surrounded like the creativity and expression, because that represents like a huge area in my life that I do need to heal. And like what you said was in line with what the lady that I met on the beach, who's a Reiki practitioner, said, who literally knew nothing about me. And I'm like, it all is just clicking. And I feel like it's more confirmation of like the universe is telling me like, yes, this is what you need to be working on right now. And it explains a lot of like the urges, like the urge to do this podcast for like years and just never doing it because it never felt aligned or like the right time to do it. But I like had the deep down want to do it, and like so many other things.
But it's also like part of your like north node, which is not comfortable. So it's hard to get yourself into that space. Yeah.
So it makes sense. And then I feel like the confirmation that I'm in my Saturn return and the connection with that to relationships, because my relationship life has been hella turbulent, and I always thought it was a lot of like me issues, if that makes sense. So seeing that, like, obviously, yes, I do have to work on things, but that it's also in alignment with my chart and my Saturn return, and like how things will progress going forward, given that I actually learn the lessons and heal from it. Like that's like very comforting for me. So
I'm glad to hear that. I'm happy it's that way for you to get this reading.
Yeah, I'm so happy we did this.
Me
also,
too.
guys, just by looking at my chart, she knew so much random crap about my childhood and my relationships with like my family and my friends and my parents. And like, that's normally when a fortune teller says that stuff, you're like, oh, this is bullshit. Like, you say this to everyone. But the fact that she saw it in my chart and like, she was like, I'm sensing this, I feel this. And I was just like, oh my God, yes, like every single one. And she was showing me where in the chart she saw it and why. Like, it wasn't just some made up crap she pulled out of her ass. I was like, That was wild too.
Yeah,
Like,
the
that
thing
was so
is,
crazy.
the things I was looking at when I mentioned those was Chiron and the fourth house,
Oh my
which
God.
are my favorite asteroid and my favorite house, because you can like look into the deepest parts of someone. And I rarely ever skip that part. No, I never skip it.
Okay, you guys, that was the episode. I really, really hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something new and found something that will benefit you along your healing journey or just your path in life in general, because there's so much good information in your astrology chart that can help you in different areas of your life, especially if it's so turbulent and you're just like, what the heck is going on? So I'm really, really so grateful that Anne-Belle came on the podcast and did that with me and kind of gave you a deeper look at what astrology actually is. As usual, if you guys enjoyed the episode, please leave a review and please subscribe. Please share it to anyone who you think might be interested in listening or anyone who you think it would benefit. I do this for free. There's no ads or anything. I just want to help as many people as I can along their journeys. So every share really means a lot to me. I hope you guys have the most amazing rest of your day. And I hope you enjoyed everything astrology coming from a couple people just like you.